They say you're never fully dressed without a smile, but what if that smile was suddenly gone? Imagine being in the middle of a game or on a jog when crack, your tooth flies out of your mouth and you are left with what a dentist likes to call an avulsed tooth. Most people would just pick up the tooth and put it in a napkin and try to find an emergency dentist that is probably not available that day. What would you do to save your tooth? How far would you go to save it? You may think that it is gone forever, but this is not necessarily true if you know what to do within the next 60 seconds. Today, I will explain to you what you should do if your tooth flies out of your mouth, what to do, how to save it, and what the healing process is like. You may be wondering, why do I need to learn this? But according to the Cleveland Clinic, over 5 million teeth get knocked out of mouths every single year. Therefore, this is an important life skill to know. So, what should you do when the tooth first comes out of your mouth? The first thing you should do is not freak out and remember that you are in a race against time. You have 60 minutes, that's 1 hour to do the right thing to save your tooth. Next, try to determine whether the tooth is a baby tooth or an adult tooth. If it is a baby tooth, you shouldn't do anything. An adult tooth will grow into its place eventually, and remember that trying to reinsert the tooth will damage it and will possibly infect it. However, once you determine that the tooth is an adult tooth, you have to pick it up by its crown, which is the hard part that you chew with. And then you should gently rinse it with either milk, a saline solution, or your own saliva. However, you should never rinse it with either water or soap, because doing this can kill all the cells on its root, the soft part. You should also never scrub the tooth, because the same results can happen if you do it with water. Now, you have to make sure that the socket in your mouth is not injured, and then you can slowly reinsert the tooth. Then, get a clean napkin, paper towel, or gauze, and then bite down on it to hold it in place. However, your tooth may not be able to be reinserted into your mouth. Let's find out what you must do instead. The Cleveland Clinic tells us that you must keep the tooth moist until you are able to see a dentist. It says that you should use a small container filled with either milk, a saline solution, or a Save a Tooth kit, which you can find in any general or dental retailers. Also, you can put the tooth in between your cheek and your gums, keeping it moist with your saliva. However, you shouldn't put it somewhere dry, like in a napkin, because, likewise to the water, it will kill all of the roots. Now, you have to move quickly. Start by rushing to your nearby dentist's office or ER, no matter what if the tooth is in your mouth or in a container. According to the University of Michigan Dental School, if your tooth is replanted within an hour of it being knocked out of your mouth, there's up to a 90% chance of it being reimplanted successfully. However, that percent drops to 10 after 2 hours. So, in this process, time is key. So, what happens after the dentist replants the tooth? Let's find out together. After a dentist or doctor saves your tooth, it's going to need some time to heal. It doesn't just mold back into shape, your gums secure and get in place. You need to repair and reattach everything on the roots that was damaged when popped out. You will be advised not to chew with certain things, such as sticky foods, hard foods, or hot foods. Some of them can range from caramels, nuts, or even soup. All of these can damage the tooth and can restart the process. Not just that, but a dentist might even put a splint in your teeth. Dental splints are far different than those for your fingers. They're small pieces of flexible wire that are bonded to the backs of your teeth, and they help the tooth stay in place and not fall out, but they're not too firm so that it can move it around a little bit. Although different solutions work differently for everyone, according to the American Association of Endodontists, a study held in 2013 shows us that most dental splints stay in one's mouth for up to 2 weeks. However, if their injury was on the more severe side, it can last up to 4. Today, we learned what you should do if your tooth comes out of your mouth and how the healing process works. We learned about how water can damage the roots of your tooth and which foods you can eat while healing. We learned about tooth splints and how long they stay in one's mouth. Although it may seem rare to lose a tooth, the truth is that things like this happen every single day. You never know when it's going to happen, either in sports, eating, or just walking on the sidewalk. Knowing what could do could mean the difference between now and the end of your life. So the next time that you or someone near you slips and loses their tooth, remember that you now have the power to act fast and save their smile, because sometimes a few seconds of knowledge can make a big difference. Thank you.